The following is a production of cprundown.com. The views and opinions expressed by the host of this podcast are those of the individual and not of any affiliated companies. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast covering the Cedar Fair Entertainment Company, the amusement industry, and the business of fun. Here are your hosts, Carsten Anderson, Evan Schultz, and Kyle Hu.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Rundown on Fun, a weekly podcast where we cover Cedar Fair, Cedar Point, and everything to do with fun. And we are back for our first episode of 2024.
Whoop, whoop.
It is
Happy New Year.
Right. Happy New Year. Happy Thanksgiving, or whatever I said at the very end of that last podcast.
I think it was Happy Thanksgiving.
I was like,
I think we had 2 episodes since Thanksgiving.
Oh yes, no. The thing was if the listeners were paying attention at the very end of the credits, we only have like a 30-second window, so that's why sometimes I always speed up my goodbyes because I never really know. Like maybe in 2024, Kyle can get like a little stopwatch that posts on the screen or something and says, "Hey, you have 15 seconds left. Hurry up, idiot."
I'd be able to do that.
But yeah, so I'm like, and I knew because like Kyle went a little long, Evan, you went a little long, and then I was like, oh God, I've only got 5 seconds, so I literally blurted out everything, and I was like, we'll see you later. Happy New Year, I didn't say Merry Christmas, I said Happy Thanksgiving, and I go, oh God, and then we literally all laughed, and then went to credits, and that was it.
And we didn't retake it, so
no, that was one and done.
Longtime listeners will remember the era of the show where we used to go live every week. If we ever decide to go live again, I can do that timer, but not right now.
Okay. I mean, well, I to be fair, I've been like, at the park at the group photos, and also at this past year, I guess you could say, Great Ohio Coaster Club's holiday party, that the last update that we actually posted. It's almost been a month. It's crazy. But anyway, I did actually get some people saying, "Hey, can you guys go live? I really liked it when you guys were live." They were actually saying, and I was like, "Oh wow,
see our beautiful faces."
I was like, "Oh," they're like, "Yeah, we really liked interacting with it and stuff like that." So maybe we'll go live in the future and see.
Here's my opposition to that. I don't have a permanent podcast studio at the moment, so it's a little tough for me to. I'm not exactly in a comfortable live streaming position right here.
But he does look very handsome.
Sure, we'll go with that. But when I have a permanent spot, then we'll talk about that. But for the time being,
yeah. So anyway, let's jump into some news. So finally, we've got the brand new year, and then as soon as I think our podcast dropped. I think
our last one that was like a month ago.
Yeah, Cedar Point was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, here's some brand new events for 2024," and we were like, "Oh man," we talked about it. We're like, "Should we update?" We're like, "Nah, we'll just do it in New Year." So anyway, I've gotten tasked to do the special events that are currently listed on Cedar Point's page. You can go to cedarpoint.com/events, and you can see all of these updates. First off, we've got Winter Chill Out. We're waiting on some more info coming. It says it's going to be on February 24th. It's not going to be 2 days. It's just going to be one. And
that's a Saturday, correct?
That is a Saturday. That is correct. So I'm super excited about it. I don't know if there's going to be a lottery. Nothing was said about if there was going to be a lottery or anything. It might become first come first dibs kind of thing, because I know that Tony at the holiday party did say that it was very stressful on the staff last year to do 2 days. One was like wrangling around everything, coming up with the schedule and whatever. And then 2, it was very stressful on the whole lottery thing. And I don't know if they're going to do it or not. They might do it. But the problem is
full disclosure, because if this is how it goes with us, by the time this podcast drops, the information's going to be out there already.
Yeah. But so a little bit behind the curtain, Tony was telling us, he was saying that all of the emails that people were getting saying, "Hey, by the way, just let you know, you were picked for the lottery," it wasn't generated by a system. It was literally all hand done and all like like, I'm sure they copied and pasted emails and stuff, with just changing out the names, but still, there's probably like, I don't know, over 1,000 emails that probably needed to be sent. And then he said that people that wouldn't respond to them or whatever, they would send out reminder emails saying, oh, hey, by the way, you have until I don't know, February 10th to purchase your ticket and blah, 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 blah. And so there was so much bounce back that they were having some issues with it. So anyway, Winter Chill Out, it's coming. It's coming very soon. It's almost a month away. Not too quite. Not quite a month, but by the time we post this podcast, no offense to Kyle, like Evan said,
he could post this tomorrow night, and we might have the information by then. So.
Right, and we'll be like, well, that's cool. And then next podcast will be like, hey, did anybody get the Winter Chill Out tickets?
Yeah, literally.
You know? But anyway, so Winter Chill Out coming February 24th. The brand new event that's coming, obviously it's going to be a one-time event. We've got the total eclipse of the Point, which I'm super excited about.
That's going to be so cool.
It's going to be on April 8th. The total eclipse, that's what's going to happen. And it says, if you click on it, there's a lot more details to come, like pricing, I'm sure will be coming. But they're actually going to be opening up, it says select rides on the boardwalk and savory food options possibly, and drinks at the Grand Pavilion.
Oops. Pavilion.
Restaurant and bar. So I'm excited. So Wild Mouse probably will be open, maybe, ? April 8th. That's like the earliest I've ever known of Cedar Point, like opening and trying to get rides.
Giant wheel.
Ready to go. So hopefully they've got good weather, and hopefully there's a good turnout. So maybe they'll be like, you know what? Maybe we can possibly open maybe
weeks earlier.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. They could do soft openings, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
I'm telling you right now, though, because it's Northeast Ohio, it's not going to be a sunny day. We're not going to be able to see the eclipse.
Right. Well, yeah. It'll be raining. It'll be or snowing. It'll be something. It'll be like, oh, or the sun won't even come out. The sun. It'll literally just stay the moon the whole time. And,
it'll be just cloudy and gross.
But you know what?
And rainy because it's Ohio.
Even if it is cloudy and rainy and whatever, you will notice
when it goes to dark on April 8th.
Everything else turns on. But yeah, so I look forward to more details coming on that soon. I know that Ace's No Coaster is going on this weekend, and Chicago's supposed to get I think 2 feet of snow or something. So
aren't you planning on going to that?
I was, until I asked you to go, and then you couldn't go, and then I was like, I'll just whatever. And so I'm glad I said whatever, because I'd be stuck in a giant snowstorm.
And you'd miss the Browns playoff game, which, side note, we are rather large sports fans here. So
yes, yeah, that is
it. All worked out. You're not going to be traveling in ridiculous weather, and you'll still see the Browns game.
Exactly. And then these next ones, I'm gonna come. I'm just gonna throw them out in rapid fire. I am gonna save one event to the very end. So if you're listening, just stay on until the very end of all these events. So obviously we've got opening day listed. I'm not going to detail that. I think there's more.
It's opening day. What do you expect?
You got Coaster Mania that's on the schedule now, June 7th. I believe we talked about that in the last episode. June 7th. They've got more details coming as well. Boardwalk nights. This is something that's new. I'm curious on what's gonna happen with that. If it's gonna be like almost Cedar Point nights per se, when they would do that on the beach and everything. It says that's going to be running July 19th through August 18th. And then more details to follow on that. And then also Hollow Weekends. You've got that from select days and nights from September 12th until October 27th. What I'm curious about is, and if you actually go to the actual website, it says it's not returning in 2024. The Frontier Festival. It
actually says it's not returning.
If you Google Cedar Point and then type in Frontier Festival, it actually says, let me pull it up here really quick here. It says Frontier Festival will not be returning in 2024.
What?
So I'm curious to see if that whole Boardwalks night thing is
like their big food event for the year
thing. I don't know. And then also,
man,
interesting that's not listed is the 4th of July. There's not like I don't know if it's just like, oh, hey, by the way, 4th of July, we're having fireworks. We don't need to have a event on our calendar. Or maybe it just didn't get added yet. Because
you're probably exactly right with it's 4th of July. Everybody knows we got fireworks.
Yeah. So I'm curious with that. And then the last one that I'm actually, I held out and I'm really excited about. I know Evan's really excited about. Kyle's really excited about. I think he's coming all the way up from Florida for it. Is, drum roll, please. They're actually going to have a season pass preview. They haven't released any details on this whatsoever. There's not even a button to click on, but it's a Top Thrill 2 season pass preview or pass preview. And it's going to be April 30th through May 2nd. The park opens for May 4th or on May 4th for opening day. So April 30th through May 2nd. And I'm super excited about it. I know there's a bunch of people that have said like, oh, I'm going every single day. And
no, you're not.
yeah. And then also like, oh, and so we don't know any details. I'm sure it's going to be like the last one that they did was for Steel Vengeance. And they had you pick like a specific day on whatever. Like they were like, it's open to everybody as long as you have a pass. But
you can only choose one of these 3 days.
Right. Because there's going to be
4 days or whatever it was.
So many people and they only have a limited amount of food and yada, yada, yada. And so I can't wait for more details to come. Again, no coasters this weekend. Normally Tony goes to that and gives out a little more information and stuff. That's why I'm bummed that I'm not going to be able to go this year. So maybe we might have some more details come out after the event or during the event, and I'll be able to watch Twitter and everything. But yeah,
people on Twitter are usually pretty good about covering that.
Huge Top Thrill 2 pass holder preview. Everyone's been asking for it. The park is delivering with it, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, so speaking about being super excited, I know, Evan, you were able to go to Sandusky and see Top Thrill 2. You want to talk a little bit about
so I had my own little preview. So we decided, because we were bored on Christmas and weather was pretty nice, we drove up to the park. Well, kind of. We went to Battery Park and we saw Top Thrill 2 in all of its cell phone tower looking glory. And I mean that in a good way. I mean, it's just, I forget the way exactly I put it at the time, but I think I said something along the lines of, it looks so weird in the best way possible. And I think part of that's just like, I'm getting used to seeing another giant tower in the middle of the park on the skyline, but
it's weird,
man. It just, again, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, it just looks wrong. Like, It doesn't look like Cedar Point. But again, that sounds bad, but that's not how I mean it. I don't know. If anything, it's just more and more exciting seeing, oh my God, this is real. This is happening.
Yeah.
More further proof, I guess. But yeah, that was really cool to see. So yeah, if you are in the Sandusky area, definitely check out Battery Park. They have a nice, I don't know if you would call it even like a boardwalk, but you could really get
warm though, because that wind off the bay.
Yeah, it's nasty.
We were blessed to have like Florida weather for 60 degrees on Christmas Day.
Yeah, on Christmas Day it was 55 and like a light breeze out there. I legitimately, I had a sweatshirt and sweatpants and that was it, and I was warm.
It's great. I got to see it in person as well. I think we talked about it a little bit on that last podcast, and it looks great. I think it looks different with the skyline, seeing it next to the tower and whatever, but it doesn't get lost. It looks great.
No.
So I can't.
The next thing I want to do is have a nice dinner at Bay Harbor, Cedar Point's fine dining establishment. I think they're open Mondays through Sundays, or Wednesdays through Sundays. I think even during the off season. So then you could go down the causeway and through the toll gate and really see Top Thrill 2 up close. So that's pretty cool. That's little hidden fact, I guess, but also a plug for Bay Harbor, because that's some good food.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what's cool is like you can, quote unquote, kind of visit, the park in the off season, and like you said, like you can go to Bay Harbor, Bay Harbor Bay Harbor Dining, sorry. BayHarborDining.com. It actually pulls up the Bay Harbor that shows off everything. It's right on the it's right on the water too, which is interesting.
Yeah, very nice, pretty restaurant with awesome views of the park. And like we said, it's like a nice little, I'm going to Cedar Point, but in January or February, whatever you decide to do. But yeah, if you really want to see Top Thrill 2 up close, that's another way of doing it.
And they have special, like, it's kind of more elegant dining. So maybe you want to, wear like, not like a suit, but like maybe like a nice shirt. And
yeah, don't expect to spend less than $50 a person.
But I have never gone, but I actually think that it's worth it because I've had a lot of friends that have told me that it's actually worth it. Just looking on their menu really quick here, they've got Wednesday night pasta, which is like specialty pasta start at $25, but you can get like $6 wine glasses, which is kind of cool. Thursday it says half off night, buy one entree get one half off. And that includes appetizers too, $6 wines again. And then Friday, they've got fresh fish night, which is rotating special fish, $5 draft beers, $6 wines by the glass, and $8 cocktails. And then Saturday is Bay Harbor Signature Prime Rib. Enjoy a 12-ounce Signature Prime Rib with potatoes and vegetables for only $35. Obviously, it's, subject to change, and their dates are subject to change, whatever. But, give them a call and see if you can make a reservation and stuff. But yeah, like Evan said, I mean, if you want to get super close to the park and see Top Thrill 2, like pretty close, it's pretty cool. So
yeah. And they accept season pass discount. That's another thing worth mentioning. Anyways, I don't know why we got on a Bay Harbor tangent. That was not on our.
It wasn't on the run sheet, but whatever.
It works.
But yeah. What's on the run sheet is Kyle. You know that another coaster that Cedar Fair's been working on at Dorney Park is taking shape. You want to talk a little bit about Iron Menace?
Yeah, over at Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania, the crews have topped off the 160-foot B&M dive coaster Iron Menace. So the highest point of that ride is now topped off, and it is well on its way to becoming a full circuit. And I also believe that the Immelman got put in place as well. So
yeah, very shortly ago.
Yeah, it looks like they're really chugging along on that. I'm super excited to see it. That park needs it bad.
I was saying, it's been a while since that park got a brand new coaster.
Hydra the Revenge was the last brand new coaster.
What was that, like 2005?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, so good for Dorney. But yeah, the Iron Menace looks really cool. And it looks even better seeing it
right off the rip. And
I've been to that park too many damn times.
Well, yeah. Hello, Demon Drop.
Exactly. And it's just, if you're going to Hershey, it's just too easy.
It's a really good spot that they put it in, though, because that's kind of like a big dead kind of area where, like, obviously you've got what's the coaster over there that launches back and forth?
Possessed.
Yes, you got that over there, but then there's a lot of concrete, and you're just kind of like, and you
can and the old I forget what they call it, but Lake Erie Eagles ride that's just kind of by itself. But now it is not, because Iron Menace is there, and
they seem to be cooking.
It's menacing
pretty quick. So I'm curious to see if they're going to get it done by opening day. My guess
they will.
No. I think it'll probably be open by Memorial Day, but if they get it done by opening day, then that's pretty legit.
This thing will go up pretty quick now. Remember, it's not that long of a ride.
It's very true. And then also, I did actually see in my Facebook memories of like, oh, hey, by the way, Val Raven was topped off, I think, on like, don't quote me on it, I think it was like January 5th or 6th or something of when it was built and stuff. So I mean, they can throw
these things up pretty quick when it comes down to it.
But yeah,
especially with some good weather. So anyways, congrats, Dorney.
Yeah. That's an exciting little update, because people are like, why don't you guys talk about other Cedar Fair parks? Like, we're gonna have to
the other Cedar Fair parks need to give us something to talk about.
The Rundown on 6 or something, and we're gonna have to talk a lot about like other crazy parks, whatever, when the merger possibly goes through or whatever. But anyway, getting off topic a little bit, Evan. So you were able to during the holiday, you were able to sneak down to Florida. I shouldn't even say sneak. I think you almost took a camper down there. You were down there for that long. You want to tell us a little about what you were able to do and what you were able to ride?
Yeah, well, so that wasn't. It was a buddy of ours, a mutual friend of ours, had some family business to take care of down there, and it turned into, hey, let's tax some. Hey, do you want to come with me, meaning me, and tax some days on and hit the Florida parks? So yeah, we hit. Well, we had to drive down there and we flew home. That's a story for a different time. But so on the way down, we hit Carowinds, we hit Fun Spot Atlanta.
Ooh.
Well, actually, I'm going to back up. Fury was outstanding at Carowinds.
Of course.
It is not cracked anymore. I confirmed that with my own eyes. But yeah, I mean, for 45, 50-degree night, she was moving. Those were some of the best rides I've had on Fury. Then we hit Fun Spot Atlanta, which is a go-kart track with a big roller coaster. RE Force One. Yeah. Ooh, that is a good ride. It's not the best RMC, and it was cold out. It wasn't running its best, I don't think. And I think we rode it twice, and both rides were Zen rides.
It's not taking oh, that's sad. I was gonna say, is it taking your number one spot from Wildcat?
No. I mean, but it's a really good ride. It's right there in like the Twisted Timbers neck of the woods.
Okay.
Yeah, there was nobody there, but I mean, the weather was by Georgia standards pretty crappy. So,
okay.
Fair. And then a half hour away from there, Six Flags Over Georgia. They were pretty crowded. So we hit that up. I had been there. Jared had not.
Did you get all the? Did Jared get all the credits?
No, not the whole park was open anyways, just because it's holiday in the park now.
Okay.
It's only like the front half. Well, I don't think you've been there. The park's really weird setup. But only like the front half of the park is open. But we did hit their B&M Hyper Coaster. We hit their old Schwarzkopf looping coaster. We hit their RMC, which is really cute. And their wacky Disney style dark ride, Monster Mansion, which was a ton of fun. Kind of an acid trip. And then yeah, we finished up the drive to Orlando, and I mean, we hit all the typical Orlando parks, right? We hit first Busch Tampa, which, okay, I guess that's not an Orlando park, but you get it. Then SeaWorld Orlando, and then the Fun Spot parks there. We got to meet the kitty bumper that lives at Fun Spot Kissimmee. That was the best. That was the best part. I mean, clearly.
Okay. Did you get? We do what we do. I do have to ask. Did you ride the Ripcord, the 300?
No. What? I'm not going to go into a ton of details, but we didn't stay there very long.
Fair.
But
it was cold, by the way. It was cold down in Florida. Kyle, what the hell? Like, it's been like, it was like 50 degrees and then like 45 to 40 degrees at night. Like, I thought Florida was like supposed to be super warm.
It's been cold here for like consistently for like the last month.
We brought the cold down with us, Carsten.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Honestly, like the last month and a half, it's been ridiculously cold here.
Jeez.
Ridiculously cold. Yeah, sorry, 60 degrees is a high.
Continue, Evan.
Actually, the real reason we didn't stay there very long is because it took us a lot longer than we anticipated to get there, and we had a dinner reservation at Antojitos over at City Walk. Hey. So it was like, go ride Mind Blower and get out.
Yeah.
But so we also met their kitty Bumper, who lives inside the Flying Aces ride, which is just adorable. They even have food and water set out for the kitty.
Oh.
So that was a highlight. But the other thing we did that day, which is something I've never done, is even though we didn't go to the Disney parks, we did a little bit of resort hopping, as they call it. We had breakfast at the Wilderness Lodge, at the Whispering Canyon Cafe, which is, if you haven't been there, one of the most fun places to eat breakfast. Kyle, I'm sure you've checked it out or at least heard of it.
I actually just ate breakfast there last week. Like,
okay, so
less than a week ago.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So did you stay the night, or do you have to
No, you don't have to stay the night. You just drive right up, I mean, and walk right in. I mean, with anything Disney and food, you got to make a reservation.
Right.
But yeah, without spoiling it, it's quite the experience to eat there. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you want to look up Whispering Canyon, go ahead. But then it's pretty close to the what they call the monorail resorts. So we went over to the Polynesian Resort, check that out. I mean, that place is, oh my God, it's beautiful. Beyond my pay
And also
beyond my affordability, but
and also, doesn't it remind you almost of like Grand Pavilion? Like
no, you're thinking of Grand Floridian.
Oh yes, sorry. Did you get to go to that?
So yeah, we walked around Polynesian, then we hopped on the monorail, we checked out Grand Floridian, which Grand Pavilion, Hotel Breakers, beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Then we hopped back on the monorail, and we did not actually get out at Contemporary because I think that is the ugliest resort I've ever seen. We went back to the Ticket and Transportation Center and hopped on the other monorail line that takes you from Ticket Transportation to Magic Kingdom to Epcot. And it also like goes through Epcot, which was cool. I had been to Disney in 2010, but that was 2010. I hadn't been there in a long time. So it was really, really cool to see the parks. And we did see Magic Kingdom from the monorail.
The ball that lights up. That's my favorite part.
And we drove right where we were staying to get basically anywhere. You had to drive right past Magic Kingdom. So I saw Tron from the road. I saw Space Mountain from the road. And so not having been to Disney in now 14 years, it was really cool to kind of go to Disney.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of my favorite parts of the trip. And then Tuesday we did Universal, just Islands of Adventure. And then Wednesday we had to go take care of the family business up in Gainesville, which was, for you football fans out there, college football specifically, that ended up being really cool because if you don't know, Gainesville is the home of the University of Florida, the Gators. Very historic, very good college football program. And we decided, because there's really nothing to do in Gainesville, Florida, we decided to drive around the campus, and their stadium is just open. It literally has hours, like 9 to 8 every day, and you could literally just walk in the stadium. So that's cool. Something I never thought I'd get to do, is walk around in an SEC stadium.
Did you get to walk on the field or no?
No, the field was closed, but it seemed like they were like cleaning the stadium up from the year, but they just happened to have it open. And then we decided to go to a restaurant called Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Spurrier is the name of a very famous college football coach from mostly South Carolina and then the University of Florida, won national championships. And apparently he's got this restaurant in Florida. And we walk in, and none other than the Steve Spurrier, famed football coach, is at his restaurant.
That's awesome.
Like taking pictures, doing trivia. So yeah, I got a picture with Steve Spurrier, one of the most famous football coaches of all time. So that was an experience.
I think Urban Meyer, don't quote me, but at least I think he used to, and unless he still does, has a few restaurants.
That sounds
Columbus.
Yeah,
and I've heard that he goes in and frequents some and stuff and everything. Possibly meet Urban Meyer, and that's so cool that the college coaches do that and stuff and everything.
Yeah, I mean, so if you ever find yourself in Gainesville, and I mean, meeting the coach aside, this was some of the best food I've ever had in my life, and it's I mean, it's not cheap, but it's also not.
I mean,
it's cheaper than Bay Harbor.
He's a foodie, so.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that two of my favorite parts of the trip were kind of non-park related. The resort hopping and then going to just kind of screwing around in Gainesville ended up being two of my favorite parts of the trip. So yeah, that was my quick little, my 5-minute speech about my trip to Florida, and it was great. And that's also why we didn't record last week.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, Evan's still in Florida. Don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah, I didn't come home. Let's see. I got home. Was it only a week ago today? Yeah, it was a week ago today.
Yeah.
Seems like it's been a month because I miss Florida.
Well, I was going to say that, and also like driving, and then you know, it was nice that you were able to fly back, but the whole drive.
Yeah, I would totally like
your trip.
Driving down sucked, but it saved us a lot of money. But it only didn't completely suck because we knew we were flying home.
Right.
We knew we didn't have to do the drive home.
Right.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun though. And I don't know when I'll be back to Florida, so it was kind of bittersweet. But we'll see.
And speaking of Florida, I was able to just dip my toe, not like your whole body, like you were.
You did my typical style trip.
Yeah, I literally was like, hey, I'm in Ohio. Hey, and I'm working, and like, hey, I'm in Florida, and then hey, I'm back to work. It was like it's so short. Sometimes it's like too short. But yeah, so you're able to experience New Year's down there and stuff. Got to see the fireworks. And like I said, it was like bloop bloop. Like literally very quick. Got to ride all the rides. Very first ride of 2024 was Mummy, Revenge of the Mummy.
Okay. So did Universal just do the fireworks over in studios then?
Yeah, so they had fireworks like all over. They had like they have a big thing over at City Walk with like everything was free, which was really cool. Obviously, besides park admission. But like if you wanted to do parks, you could do whatever. So, but they had a barge that was set up on like that big old water thing, over in Islands of Adventure, like and that's where they're launching up the fireworks and stuff. It was like a good 10-minute display of fireworks.
I saw the remnants of that on the Tuesday.
And then also they had they had, I believe, fireworks just like all around in like City Walk and all on buildings and things like that. So it was really cool. They did a really good job. Tons of different DJs, tons of different entertainment. Bars, obviously were bopping and everything. And then I'm trying to think. But yeah, so literally we're like, okay, cool. We're going to ride Velocicoaster at midnight or around midnight or a little bit after. And they're like, oh, hey, by the way, select rides are closing at specific times. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Probably select rides will be like kiddie rides, whatever. Nope.
Yeah.
Velocicoaster closed at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, mother. And then I was like, okay.
Well, that's right by the lagoon with the fireworks.
Well, and then also like they had like a 2-hour line. So I'm like, okay, fair. And then also I was like, okay, well, maybe we can do motorbike. Nope. That closed at 10 o'clock too. Like, gosh dang it. And by the way, let me just say, I've been to the parks before for like New Year's and things like that. Let me just say that was probably the most busiest I've ever seen Universal for. I
don't know where all these people came from because that was the busiest I'd seen SeaWorld too. Because we did SeaWorld for New Year's Eve. It was.
Yeah, it was.
I heard 50,000.
It had to have been at least, I'd say,
more for SeaWorld. Universal was probably 100,000.
Yeah, so that was I mean, good for the parks, but yeah, it was extremely busy.
So what ended up being your last coaster of 2023?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't remember.
My answer is real easy. I rode Manta at about 11:56, watched the New Year's fireworks, and then went and rode Manta again.
Nice.
So my last of 2023 and my first of 2024 was Manta, and honestly, I wouldn't change a thing because that ride is awesome.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know. I'm not too sure. I know that we went drinking and kind of lost track. So it was probably a Velocicoaster.
Maybe don't really remember it.
Yeah, I mean it was New Year's, you
Yeah,
you got to experience it. But it's super fun. If you get to do it, try it and do it. And then also crowds. I was able to ride Mummy, and then I was also able to ride because I was like, it was like 3, 2, 1 minute, woo, yay! And then we were trying to like get out, and there's like a million people trying to move out at the same time. And Justin and I, were like, let's go ride coasters. We heard coasters were running over at Universal, so we went over to Universal, and we were able to make it over to obviously Mummy, and then we were able to make it to the Rip Ride Rocket that was open. That was the last ride of the night. Yeah, it was like. Actually, it wasn't too bad. I don't know if the cold weather was helping it or something, but we were jamming out, we were rocking out with the music and whatever. So, but yeah, so it was a fun time. Kyle, what did you get to do for New Year's? Anything crazy like the parks or anything?
I also rang in the New Year over at SeaWorld. Didn't really get to hang out with Evan and Jared all that much, but no, I had a good night. Saw some fireworks, did some rides, and it was a lot of fun.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, I think we're gonna close this out. I know Kyle, you're editing videos and stuff and everything as we're talking and whatever. But yeah, so real quick, we're gonna probably start doing this in the off season, and we could do it during the season and stuff as well. But anyway, I found a way. I don't exactly know how I found the way, and I don't want to share it because it's kind of cool that we were able to do it and not a lot of people can do it. But anyway, we're going to start doing polls on our Facebook page because that used to be a thing. And then Facebook took them away and then they came back. So anyway, we have a poll on our Facebook page. When is the best time to visit Cedar Point? And I put down 3 different categories. I put spring, summer, or fall. Right now, spring's actually leading 47%. Summer is in second place at 28%, and then fall, which is surprising. I thought that would at least be second or even first. That's only got 25% of the vote, and 350 people have voted. So if you're listening to this right now, you can still go vote go vote on the poll and everything. I'm gonna go through the comments here a little bit. Kenny said that he enjoys the spring since spring has the best weather. There's also Chris that's saying spring as well because of the Brew and Barbecue and Frontier Festival. Well, we're not sure on that one.
Well, so. Sorry, buddy. Got some news for you.
Right. We've also got Maya chiming in. I think Evan knows a Maya.
I think I'm pretty familiar with her. Yeah.
She said fall. She said it's really
she is correct. She and the other 25% of people are correct.
I like because you get the best of both worlds. You get rides, you get scares, you get the food.
In September, it's still 80 degrees out.
Yeah, right. Well, it just depends. It's Ohio. You never know.
Yeah.
So there's other people. There's David that's also saying in September and October is a really good time to go. Obviously it'll be a little bit busier. Let's see. There's Scott that's saying
Cedar Point busy.
There's a lot of people that are like saying fall, but then I see the poll numbers and I'm like, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're just a little more outspoken.
There's Ashley. Ashley said late summer, early fall. She said the lines during the lines like right around that time or whatever is because when school starts the lines are kind of low, and then if you go in early fall, Halloween weekend lines aren't as long as if you go in late Halloween weekend, like weekends, things like that. I'm like
fun quick tip there.
Yeah. Also looking and seeing, you never, Jim's like, you never know what the weather's going to be like, in the beginning of the season and stuff. Sometimes it could be snowing in October, or it could be like really cold in the spring. So, and then Melissa, I'm definitely on board with her. She's like, any day is a perfect day to go. I agree 100%. I think Evan would also agree. Kyle, I would assume you would agree to anytime.
Yeah, I mean,
point, it's fun. Unless you're planning a trip and then you're trying to get like the most out of your trip,
I'm in the
but I want to go in the fall.
Yeah, I'm in the camp of fall as well, but my answer is very specifically Friday nights during fall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is nothing's
the
like
first two Friday nights of Halloween weekends are my favorite days of the year.
Well,
one is you get
Go ahead.
You get like the fog from Millennium Forest from the trail, and then also like you get a nice little crisp ride on Millennium Forest.
Yeah.
Rides and stuff like that and whatever. Kyle?
Sweatshirt and shorts are the best.
I used to remember when I was a kid, me and my dad would always go up on Friday nights because I wasn't real into high school football and neither was he. So we'd always go up on Friday nights, and like when I was growing up, it seemed that any Friday during Halloween weekends you could go up and just have the run of the place. Like wait no more than 10, 15, 20 minutes for any ride or any house. I don't know if that's still true, but like those were just the best nights.
Yeah. I remember always thinking that the opening night of Halloween weekends, which it used to always be the Friday of like that middle weekend, September. Oh my God, it used to be dead. No pun intended. Like, it's still not the busiest night of the year. So I don't know. That's, like I said, that Friday and like the Fridays in September to me are the best.
And plus you can also get like super like crazy like late night rides too. Like you can be after, almost like 11 or 12 and you can be riding coasters, which is kind of cool. And then I'm going to finish up with a few more and then next week maybe we'll do another poll or something. If you have poll ideas, feel free to email us on our Facebook page.
Or just questions or topics you want to talk about. Because like,
we're trying to think of things to come up with. Jonathan said spring for less crowds, summer for more employees, and fall for less crowds.
You know what? That's the correct answer.
Actually, though, we do have to say staffing this past year was actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was great. I had no problems with it until like closing weekend, but whatever.
Yeah, right. It's closing weekend, so
yeah.
And then the last one we'll finish up with is Tracy. She said, winter chill out, LOL for the win. She says there's no lines. And I wrote back, I was like, yeah, because there's nothing open. And then she's like, yeah, but there's less people. I was like, okay, fair.
Sounds like my kind of person.
Yeah. So, so definitely thanks to everyone that came out and commented and, look forward to more of those on our Facebook page. And it's kind of cool way to interact with you guys a little bit, and we can kind of see what everyone's kind of thinking about and talking about. So
whoop, whoop.
I think that's all I got, Kyle. I'm not sure exactly if you're ready to end it. You're editing the video.
We ready to roll the music?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our very first episode of 2024. Be sure to tune in next week when, if this offseason had taught us anything, we don't even know what we're going to talk about next week. That's all I have to say.
That's about what I was going to say. We got some fun stuff we're kind of planning, maybe some interviews coming. Keep tuned, but till then, see you next week.
And make sure that you follow us and share it to all your friends and everything like that. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys, or we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, that's going to do it. Take it away, Justin.
Thank you for listening to the Rundown on Fun. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Cedar Fair. As always, be kind to your ride operators, and we will see you on the Midway. Good night.